Now, you can't go to Western Australia if you live on the east coast of Australia, but as of pretty much Monday, you can head overseas. Let's get the latest on tourism, catch up with Margy Osmond from the Tourism and Transport Forum. She's the CEO. Good to talk to you again, Margy.
Hi, Chris.
There's some good news, right? Let's start with Singapore. There's going to be a bubble. We're going to let people from Singapore come to Australia. We can go to Singapore for a holiday. But that's the only country you have that sort of bubble with at the moment. New Zealand's on hold at the moment.
Look, I think the first tranche of any sort of travel in and out of Australia is wholly and solely aimed at getting Aussies home and getting that family and friends connection going again. So it's particularly pleasing to see the Singapore one because it is going to open some business travel as well. So while tourism's a wonderful thing, the business travel part of this discussion is an equally important part of it. You know, some kind of investment just needs that face-to-face.
Yeah. I mean, it's all good. It's all to the good. But I just want to urge it along a bit. And I'm interested in the problems for Australians who want to go overseas on holidays. They've raised this recently. The federal government's now saying, yeah, of course Australians can go. You don't need to get a permit. You can come back in without quarantining them. But the trouble is on the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade travel advisory site, Smart Traveller, there's all these warnings say you can't go overseas. The travel warning still says do not travel overseas, and you can list all these countries. It says do not travel to them because of COVID, obviously. Now, people wanting to book tickets and sensibly book some travel insurance at the same time, they can't get it because of those travel advisory. Can't we fix that? Look, shouldn't that have been fixed a week ago? Why are we still waiting?
Quite true, Chris. I think part of the exercise with a lot of this too is that what are green, amber and red countries? Because essentially places like the UK, for example, for travellers are likely to be in the green category. But if you're going on from the UK elsewhere, what are the implications of that? So if you're going to a country, for example, that the UK treats as amber or red, it changes your quarantine provisions for going back into the UK to then come home. So research is the friend of anyone who's planning international travel. I think it'll probably be a bit of a bonanza for travel agents because much of this will be so complicated that many people will feel the need to have an expert at the helm when the bookings are made.
But the key problem is the travel insurers use that official travel advice as their advice, and they will not give you insurance if the travel advice says don't go there. And that's plainly stupid, isn't it, at the moment?
Well, obviously, it's one of those details that needs to be sorted out. I think also from the federal government's perspective at this point in time, they're probably expecting the vast bulk of travel not to be leisure holiday makers, but largely to be people who are connecting with the ones they love. So, you know, there may be less urgency, but to be perfectly frank, the other part of this is international students. We have to get those international students back as soon as possible, not just for the sake of the universities, but for our industry, which is so desperate for the skills those students provide in their downtime from their education. It's a pivotal part of the tourism industry being able to go forward.
Couldn't agree more. They're double vaccinated. It shouldn't be a problem. In fact, the Prime Minister today, though, said he expects all that to be happening, backpackers and the full kit and caboodle by the end of the year. But I would ask, why not next week? I mean, we're ready now.
Wouldn't that be lovely? I think from the perspective of lots of international visitors, we've got to be a little bit realistic here. We've got a supply of staff and skills problem. You know, we've got major hotels in the big cities that are probably only operating at 30 and 40% because that's all the staff they can get. And much as we'd love to give all of those jobs to Australians, given that we used to have about 1.1 million Australians indirectly and directly employed in our sector, we've lost 600,000 of those jobs since the beginning of the pandemic, and a whole generation of skills has taken their career aspirations elsewhere.
Thanks for joining us, Margy.
Thank you.